Welcome to Salud Napa. I'm Amelia Ceja, and today we have a fabulous guest, Alejandra Schrader. She's going to be preparing an amazing dish for us. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Amelia, for having me over. I'm so excited to be here at the Ceja Vineyards. I'm going to be preparing Camarones Salteados. Camarones Salteados is my signature dish, the one I cooked on MasterChef, where I became a chef. I'm normally an architect and an urban planner, and I became a chef by auditioning for a show. And that's the dish I'm going to cook here for you guys today.
And what was your inspiration for this wonderful Peruvian dish that you're using shrimp?
Yes, this is a Camarones Salteados. It's a Peruvian dish originally. The inspiration is the Latin roots. I wanted to showcase a lot of the Latin flavors, the spices, and it's a dish that goes so amazing with the Sauvignon Blanc from the Ceja Vineyards. I'm really excited to showcase it. So I'm actually going to get started. I'm going to get started with a marinade really quick. It's a combination of different spices. I use curry. Curry powder is actually a blend of spices. It has cumin, it has turmeric, but I like to use it as a base, and I don't use it alone. As you can tell, I don't measure much. Yeah. I just like to kind of combine by eyeballing. I have a little bit of curry powder, a little bit of cumin powder, a little bit of smoked paprika,
which will add a really wonderful color too.
Oh, it adds such a great color. And then a little bit of chili powder. If you have ancho chile at home, make sure that you use ancho chile. It's my favorite. But I also want to believe that you can adapt to the ingredients that you normally find at the store. And I didn't find ancho chile today, so this is what I'm using. So as you can see, it's a very quick marinade. Just you could rub this as well on the shrimp, but I'm just gonna keep it easy. I'm gonna add this to my shrimp and make sure that it's coated all over. We're gonna let this sit for about 20 to 30 minutes. And in the meantime, I would love to have you, Amelia, help me with the salsa criolla. And now we're gonna prepare a very intricate part of the dish, which is the salsa criolla. This is not just a garnish, this is actually adding flavor to the whole dish, and it will top the Camarones Salteados. Normally, the salsa criolla is made with red onions, but I was browsing the market here in Napa, and I found this beautiful red spring onions. What do you think about that, Amelia?
I love it, and plus it's so much fresher and it's not so pungent.
You are absolutely right. Yes. So Amelia's going to help me prepare while I sip on some wine.
Yes.
And I love that she's going to help me show you guys about the jalapeno, because this will add more or less heat to your salsa.
Yes, I'm actually deveining it and taking out the seeds, and I'm only going to use half, and I'm going to finely mince. And I'll probably, you should say we add about a tablespoon of this, Alejandra?
I would say, yeah, about a tablespoon of minced jalapeno for each cup or so of julienne tomatoes, which just means very, very finely sliced.
I'll go over again a few times so that there's not this really big chunk when you take a bite. It should be a very harmonious, subtle spice component.
I see.
Yes.
And would you use the whole jalapeno if you were making this salsa?
Well, I would use the seeds and the veins as well, just because I like a little bit of heat. But I think for this purpose, this is ideal. But another sort of fun chile that some people may want to use is serrano, which is the smaller, it's a little bit more intense flavor, but it's also very, very lovely. So we're going to take out the onions that have already been in water with salt for about half an hour.
For about half hour.
Yes.
And we do that so that we take a little bit of that pungent flavor of the onion away, but we still keep the crispness of the red onions. And to that, once we add the lime juice, the cilantro, the jalapeno, it's just a marriage of flavors that really, really pops.
Yes. So I'd say about a tablespoon, a little bit more than a tablespoon. And this is the juice of 2 limes that I pre-squeezed earlier. And about a quarter of a cup of finely chopped cilantro, and salt and pepper to taste. And this looks amazing. And we don't have a little spoon to mix it, but no worries. This works just as well, see?
Okay, so now that the salsa criolla has been made and it's in the refrigerator, just getting ready for us, I'm gonna get ready to make the shrimp saltado. I've done some steps ahead so that you don't think it's that complicated, because it's not. Cooking can be really simple if we, if we take time to prepare. So one of the little tips I'm going to give you is normally I use regular red potatoes. But I was at the market here in Napa and I found the most beautiful red fingerling potatoes, which are very small and great for almost like a little bite-sized potato. So what I've done is I have quartered them and I have blanched them. That means I have parboiled them or pre-cooked them in boiling water with salt, just so that they're cooked a little bit ahead of time and that when we're sauteing them with the onions, they all cook evenly. So that's one of the things you always want to take into account. If you're sauteing or stir-frying in Asian cuisine, it's a very quick process. So we don't want to have something that takes a long time to cook and something that cooks really quickly, as you know. So something else that we've also done to sort of like speed up our time is we've blanched the potatoes so that we can peel them. You see, we cut a crust on the very top of the tomato before we immerse it in boiling water. And it will be a couple of seconds before you can literally just do this. So that will cut also your prep time. So I just did this as a little sample. I've gone ahead and I have quartered that tomato, gotten rid of the seeds, and eventually just made some slices for the saute, which will match the slices that we've done for the onions. And finally, the slices that we've done of the potato. These are our main like 3 ingredients for the saltado, as far as like the veggies go. Now, the shrimp. There's a little trick that I like to use when I cook shrimp, which is to brine the shrimp. We marinate it right after, but before that we soak it in salted water. That's
cold water, because we got some ice cubes from the refrigerator.
Oh, you're absolutely right. It has to stay cold because now we want to make sure that we keep our shrimp at a proper temperature, correct? But because in the brining there was salt, when I marinate it, I don't add salt right away. I added the cumin, the curry powder, the chile, etc. And now, right before I cook it, I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper right before we throw it in the pan. So just a little bit of salt.
Which has been it's already been heated.
Oh, the pan is hot for us.
Yes.
So we know that that's a really good trick to cook our meat evenly, is to have a very hot pan, as well as keeping the protein at more of a room temperature. We want to leave it out for a few minutes after we get it out of the refrigerator. So I'm going to put I'm using some grapeseed oil to saute the onions. Grapeseed oil is a great oil to use. It works really well with high temperatures. It's a lot better for you than regular vegetable oil. And it's just a great substitute. I find myself using it a lot these days. So we're going to saute the onions until they're just slightly translucent, couple of minutes. To that, we're going to add the blanched potatoes, which have been pre-cooked. So they're just going to be there just to warm up. To that, we're going to add the tomatoes, which we've already peeled and sliced thinly. And after the shrimp are cooked, it's just time to eat.
Yay! I can't wait to try it with the Ceja Sauvignon Blanc. You know, the crisp, nice acidity will really cut through the subtle spice component of that with, the marinade of the shrimp.
Well, now that we have the onions slightly translucent, we're going to go ahead and add the shrimp to it. Shrimp cooks so fast, and that's the beauty of it. We are going to be able to get the shrimp cooked in about 2 minutes on each side until it's slightly pink.
Yeah, you wanna...
One of the great things about cooking is that if you brine it, there's going to be a really hard way for you to overcook this shrimp. Once you brine, you keep a lot of the moisture in the protein, and you avoid overcooking or getting a dry protein. But this will take about 2 minutes until it turns pink. So now we're about set. Our shrimp have gone for about 2 minutes on each side. You see how those spices are working. Look at the beautiful caramelization colors. And because we don't want this to overcook, we're just going to take it out of the pan for a little while. Without washing the pan, no need to get rid of those amazing flavors sitting at the bottom. We're going to cook or finish cooking our potatoes, our Roma tomatoes, and then we bring the shrimp back.
Yes.
Back to the pan. So just a little bit, just to cover that bottom. Give enough for the potatoes to come back in. Like I mentioned, these potatoes have been blanched. If you look at the original recipe, it actually asks for red potatoes. I found some fingerling potatoes at the market, and I want you to feel encouraged to replace any of the ingredients of this recipe with any seasonal produce. If you find some amazing spring onions, go ahead.
Yeah.
If instead of Roma tomatoes, you find at the market some different beef steak, you name it, you can use tomatoes. At the end, cooking is supposed to be fun. Yes. And cooking is supposed to be simple. And if you learn the flavor profiles and you have an ingredient like a tomato, it's okay. You have fine heirloom tomatoes.
Yes.
Feel free to use the heirloom tomatoes.
And it's very important to cook seasonally. So if sometimes you cannot find like fresh tomatoes, like if you were to make lomo saltado in the winter, wouldn't you use canned tomatoes rather than the rubbery tomatoes of winter?
Absolutely. You have to adapt. Sometimes seasons affect us too. In California, we're lucky, but I've lived in Michigan, and in the middle of winter, I had to get resourceful. Definitely. That's a great tip. I'm about to add the tomatoes. As you can see, I'm kind of purposely leaving any juices behind. I didn't include the seeds because we don't want the pan to become really watery. This will literally be just there for about a minute before we return the shrimp back to it. All right, and that's it. After the potatoes have sit on the saute pan for a little bit, we added the tomatoes. Now the shrimp with the sauteed onions are back. And we're just going to give it one last stir.
And you season it with salt and pepper, or do you add any more salt and pepper?
I'm going to add just a little bit more of salt and pepper right before I serve it. You're absolutely right. Now, we always have to taste.
Right.
When I blanched the potatoes, there was salt in the water, so the potatoes are already seasoned. My shrimp were already seasoned. The only thing that really was needing seasoning here was the tomato, and just a little sprinkle of salt at the end took care of that. So I'm just gonna play really casually, and if you don't mind bringing that salsa criolla over here so that we can top
Let me get it
this.
from the refrigerator. And here we have it.
All right.
And look at the colors too, will be just very pretty. Here you go.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I can't wait to nibble on those potatoes
little
and
bit.
the camarones.
And the last touch, just a little bit of fresh lime. That's how we are doing it in the Caribbean.
And it just brightens the flavors, you know?
It really does. It's summertime. So just a little bit of salsa criolla, Peruvian style, lots of cilantro. And just a little cilantro to garnish.
And this is going to be perfect with the Sauvignon Blanc.
I can't wait to taste it together.
Yes,
Salud, Amelia.
salud.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You
Thank
always
you so
have
much.
an open invitation to come in.
I'm so excited to be here, guys. Thank you so much. We're going to finish eating this, taste it with the wine, and thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, salud.
Salud.